Hello, my name is David Tibbetts. I am the new tech lead here at SteelSeries. So we wanted a way to test our new Apex Pro Mini OmniPoint 2.0 switches and show that actuation point makes a bigger difference in speed than other variables that keyboards have. So we built this device that presses keys on two keyboards at the same time to see if our Apex Pro Mini OmniPoint 2.0 switches at 0.2mm actuation is faster than competition. So now let's put it to the test.
We'll start off by testing performance against two competitor mini gaming keyboards, one with traditional mechanical and one with optical analog switches. To get the most realistic results, we set our actuator right on top of the keycaps in a natural position for gaming. We also tested each keyboard on both sides of our device and then averaged the response times to make sure that the results are fair and unbiased. So how did the Apex Pro Mini stack up? Let's take a look. First, we tested the Apex Pro Mini with OmniPoint 2.0 switches set at 0.2mm actuation versus a traditional mechanical mini keyboard with a 2mm actuation. In competitive gaming, milliseconds can be the difference between winning or losing. After analyzing over 200 data points per keyboard, the Apex Pro Mini with OmniPoint 2.0 consistently outperformed the traditional mechanical mini keyboard by an average of 15.9 milliseconds, a 48% improvement. Next, we tested the Apex Pro Mini against an optical analog mini keyboard set at a 1.5mm actuation. Again, we see similar results, with the Apex Pro Mini beating out the optical analog by an average of 16.1 milliseconds, representing a 51% faster actuation. That's some impressive performance for the wired Apex Pro Mini. Can we expect the same performance over wireless? To find out, we've tested the Apex Pro Mini Wireless against a popular wireless low-profile mechanical keyboard. The results here are even more impressive, with the Apex Pro Mini Wireless posting a 71% faster response than the wireless low-profile competitor, averaging a 22 millisecond improvement. After a long night of testing and one wardrobe change later, we decided to see what sort of impact polling rate has on speed and performance. To find out, we've tested the Apex Pro Mini against two 8K polling rate keyboards, one with traditional mechanical and one with optical switches. Here, we started our testing with a mechanical keyboard with 8K polling and a 1.2mm actuation point. It was faster than the traditional mechanical we tested earlier, but it still couldn't manage to dethrone the Apex Pro Mini with an average 9.5 millisecond speed advantage over the 8K mechanical competitor. In our final head-to-head test, we put the Apex Pro Mini up against the latest optical keyboard with 8K polling and a 1.2mm actuation point. On paper, this should be our fastest competitor on the market. The story stays the same, with the Apex Pro Mini taking a 33% lead in speed tests and an average difference of 10.1 milliseconds. Now that we've reviewed the results, we can see that a lower actuation point has a larger impact on performance than claimed response times and higher polling rates. By reducing the total travel distance, the Apex Pro Mini brings every action closer to your fingertips. That's why the Apex Pro Mini with the shortest travel distance of 0.2mm remains the world's fastest keyboard. We heard from fans and reviewers about another keyboard with adjustable actuation that claims to be slightly lower than our OmniPoint 2.0 switches, 0.1mm versus 0.2mm. So we put it to the test against our Apex Pro Mini, setting both keyboards to their lowest actuation points. The results were similar to what we saw with the 8K keyboards. The Apex Pro Mini came out on top by 8.5 milliseconds. Despite their lowest advertised actuation points, our proprietary hardware and firmware designs were still able to drive faster speeds, keeping our title as the world's fastest keyboard.